Chapter 2. If you believe, you will receive whatever you ask for in prayer. Matthew 21:22. My adventure toward becoming a chief diver for the Cousteau Society actually began in a hard hat diving suit. This is a type of heavy gear that divers wore before the turn of the century through World War II. It is a relic from another era, a time when divers used to stomp around on the ocean floor. The antique diving rig is laying on the stern deck of a worn out tugboat in Los Angeles Harbor. Standing before me is a seasoned diving veteran wearing a sock cap and frayed sweatshirt. Willie is old enough to be my grandfather's father. He fits right in with the dilapidated tugboat and antiquated suit. The U.S. Navy sent me here for what they call an orientation dive. I have applied for diving school. It is the late 1960s, and before the Navy is willing to waste any time or money training a rookie diver, they want to see how the recruit takes to being underwater. I am sitting on a diving stool wearing a pair of Willie's threadbare long underwear to insulate me from the cold water. The shabby wool material itches and there are a few suspicious stains. But Willie has assured me that these are his lucky long underwear. Apparently, all the recruits who wore these shabby drawers made it through diving school. Scratching my chest, I nervously watch him greasing the leather seals on the old helmet. So you want to be a diver, huh, boy? Willie has a beard full of gray stubble, skin that looks like creased leather, and a chipped gold front tooth. Yes, sir, I answered, eyeing the dilapidated diving suit warily. Handsome piece of gear, ain't it? Willie lays a prideful hand on the old dented helmet. Isn't that faceplate cracked? I asked. There is a crack running in three directions across the glass port. Ain't no big deal, Willie shrugs. Suit's got a few holes in it, too. But you won't be down there that long. Holes? What kind of holes? I'm not finding this reassuring at all. Look, Willie appears to be getting upset. Don't worry about what don't concern you. If too much water gets in your suit, I'll just pull you up. Oh, Willie, I know I'm asking too many questions, but I can't stop myself. Just what constitutes too much water? Let me know if the suit fills much above your waist. Willie is dragging over the frayed canvas and rubber suit in question. Otherwise, you might be a bit too heavy for me to get off the bottom. That suit looks like a pair of old frayed sneakers. I know I shouldn't be complaining. It should. Willie's laugh has a sinister ring to it. Converse, the people who manufacture high-top sneakers, used to make these rubberized canvas suits, too. Only they closed the plant about 30 years ago. This suit is practically one of a kind, so don't be putting any new rips or tears in it. I decided it might be better not to ask any more questions. If Willie reports that I seem too nervous about the dive, it could kill my chances of getting into diving school. And I want to be a Navy frogman more than anything. I jam both feet into the canvas suit, which is soaking wet on the inside and smells rather strong of mildew. With the suit around my waist, Willie reaches over and grabs a tub of grease. Here, boy, stick your hands in here, he says with a reassuring grin. What? I can't hide my shock. That's grease. Of course it's grease. I just put new wrist seals on the suit and don't want you ripping them with your paws. Willie is definitely upset. I put both hands into the cold grease, then shake off the excess. Willie doesn't notice that a glob of the grease lands in his beard, nor do I tell him. Now you just sit there and let old Willie dress you out. Willie is glaring, just daring me to say something. I silently watch him scratch his beard, unknowingly spreading the grease across his chin and onto his nose. Lifting a brass breastplate, he places it around my neck, then bolts it to a rubber gasket on the suit. Next comes the brass and leather boots that weigh 17 pounds apiece, followed by a 75-pound leather and lead belt. I'm trying to adjust to all the weight when I see Willie beating on a valve with a hammer. What are you banging on? The question just slips out accidentally. Your air valve is a mite stuck, Willie says, hitting it a final wallop. That should do it. He picks up the helmet and plops it over my head before I can say anything. After locking it in place, he opens the faceport with the spiderweb cracks in the glass. Now you just stand up, and I'll walk you over to the ladder. Be careful. The rig weighs 195 pounds, so you might be a bit awkward. As he closes the faceplate, the helmet feels immediately confining, though it is kind of fun to look out through the portholes. I clomp over to the ladder, then begin climbing awkwardly down into the harbor. When the water reaches your helmet, grab a hold of the descent line and let go of the ladder. Willie is talking to me through the helmet speaker. Be sure to let yourself down slowly, he cautions. You don't want to go and burst an eardrum on me. As the water covers my helmet, I nervously reach for the rope and, saying a silent prayer, release my grip on the ladder. Instantly, I'm plunging straight down. The grease on my hands keeps me from getting a grip on the rope. I slide rapidly downwards and slam into the bottom hard. The impact drives my heavy boots several feet into the harbor muck. Man, you sure must have been excited to get down. Willie's voice echoes through the helmet. I got you at 33 feet already. Abruptly, I can't believe that I'm really underwater. I start to take a step, then quickly realize that I'm stuck in the thick harbor mud. It is also when I first notice the cold water seeping into my suit. Go ahead, says Willie. Walk around a bit. It is very dark on the bottom of the harbor. There is almost no light penetrating the muddy water. Holding my hand up to the faceplate, I can barely see my fingers as I wiggle them. Then I realize that if I can see my hand, so can a shark. I quickly tuck both hands firmly out of sight under my armpits. And that is exactly how I stay for the next 15 minutes, with cold water quietly creeping into my suit. You having fun down there, boy? Willie sounds curious to what I'm doing. Yeah, this is great. I know Willie will report my performance to the diver recruiting officer. So you about ready to come up, he asks. The cold water inside my suit is already above my knees, so coming up is the best news I could have heard. I guess so, I responded, trying to sound slightly reluctant to leave the seabed. The umbilical goes very taut. I have to work at freeing my boots, but they finally pull out of the soft mud with a loud, squishy, suctioning sound. Looking upward through the murky water as I ascend, I see it is slowly getting lighter above me. For the last few fathoms, I briefly wonder what aquatic adventures the future holds. In any case, I hope it gets much better from here. A goal is a dream waiting to be realized.